share with you the top 5 mistakes that I want you to avoid as a woman in leadership in your career. Now, I'm going to give you 5 mistakes today. The first is going to be very important, but the last is one that people don't talk about that often. So you want to stay to the very end to get all of the information you can so that you don't make these mistakes in your career. So if you have been on my channel, you know that this is the third time, third time I've recorded this video live. My kids have been able to come in and make their debut. So I think now I'm in a good place where things will be quiet, where I can really be able to provide you with some value on your journey and help you be able to really elevate in your career. So if you're new to me, my name is Dr. Jacinta Lamentai. I'm the CEO of Excite Excellence Incorporated. And the first mistake that I see women in leadership make is to not have a solid foundation as it relates to their confidence. This is a character trait that a lot of women in general really do struggle with. And I would say people struggle with regardless of gender. And what I see a lot of times with my clients is that they are at a point in their career where they're either at the beginning of their career or perhaps they are at an executive level, they're managing their own businesses, and they're trying to go to that next level, but there's something that is preventing them from doing so. And oftentimes that something is confidence. There's some aspect of their lives that they're not confident in, and that is okay, but we want to make sure you have a very solid foundation as it relates to your confidence so you can move forward. This is by far one of the most important starting places if you are trying to communicate at a higher level, or if you are trying to advance in your career or make more money or make a bigger impact. You have to be confident in yourself and know exactly what it is that you can offer to everyone else. So build your foundation properly. Get the confidence that you need. If you feel like confidence is something that you are struggling with in a certain aspect of your life, then check out the program that I have linked in the description below. It's called the Confidence Game Plan. It will help you to develop an unshakable confidence anytime you need it. So if you're interested in learning more and building up your confidence, then let me know. Feel free to put some information in the application and we'll go from there. Now, I want to say thank you all for joining today. Hello. Thank you for joining. And I am sharing the top 5 mistakes that women in leadership make in their careers so that you do not avoid these mistakes. So the second mistake that women in leadership make is to not communicate at a higher level. When you are a leader, there's a certain way that you need to communicate. There's a certain way that you need to conduct yourself as a leader. Oftentimes, many of us perhaps are first generation doctors, first generation college graduates, first generation business owners. And all of the information that we have learned in terms of how to communicate with other people, how to speak to other people, is a combination of our experiences throughout our childhood. And then we are transitioned into these professional roles and we're wondering, well, how am I supposed to communicate as a leader? A lot of times we just don't know what to do or how to communicate at that higher level. And so I want to share with you some tips for you to think about as you are trying to make sure you don't make this mistake. So when you are communicating with your peers as a leader, you want to make sure that you are listening to what is being said and you are responding in a very calm and professional manner. Oftentimes when you are trying to communicate at a higher level, you need to be at a higher level. And sometimes there's some mindset work that needs to go into that. We can always work together in an executive coaching format to kind of uncover maybe some challenges that you might be having as it relates to that mindset. But you want to make sure that you are really being able to speak to people like a leader. Leaders are the ones who are set apart from other people. They're not the same individuals who are talking about random things that are inappropriate in the workplace. That is not what you want to do. And so if communicating at a higher level or really enhancing your communication skills is something that you want to do to be able to earn more money, or perhaps you want to advance in your career or scale your business and do more, then reach out to me. Contact me at info@exciteexcellence.org. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you about where you are and how I can potentially support you in communicating at a higher level. Personally, for me, I have been a public speaker for the past 20 years, and over that time, I've worked as a C-suite executive, a manager, and a director, and I've had the opportunity to interact with a lot of different congressional leaders on Capitol Hill and give Florida State congressional testimony. So I've been in situations that have placed me in environments where I had to communicate at a higher level. And so I want to be able to fast track you to share that same knowledge that can help you go to that next level very quickly. And I want to say hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing well today. Thank you so much for joining. So I'm going over the top 5 reasons, top 5 mistakes that women make in their career that I want you to avoid. So we went over 1. The first one was confidence, for those of you who are joining. The second one is not communicating at a higher level. And the third is a touchy one. Are you ready? So I want you to put some information in the comments below. Are you ready to hear the third one? This third one is going to be one you want to hear about. Okay, are you ready? Not negotiating their salaries. Yes, salary negotiation is a very, very, very important aspect of being a woman in leadership. And I have seen women in leadership not negotiate their salary many, many times. And that itself is a mistake that I want you to avoid. I want you to be able to negotiate your salary and get what it is that you're looking for in your career. So to give you some perspective, majority of the clients that I work with, they do struggle with salary negotiation. And the reason why is because we're just not taught how to negotiate our salaries. And this is something that is present regardless of what gender you are. Salary negotiation is always something that has been a challenge because many of us don't know how to really articulate our value and really be comfortable with saying our value. I had a client one time that had a tremendous amount of skill sets, but she just did not feel comfortable talking about the experiences and a couple of the milestones that were accomplished in her career. And so when you're trying to negotiate a higher salary, the first thing that you want to do is be able to articulate your value. Really appreciate yourself and make sure that you are putting your best foot forward. You have to show the individuals you are potentially working with how amazing you are, because you are amazing. So make sure that this is a mistake that you don't make. Many times in interviews, I've seen it happen too, where I'll have some women in leadership come into the interviews and you talk about salary and they'll just look down, and you tell them salary and they'll say, okay. And sometimes, depending on the salary and the situation, you may be in a place where this is an opportunity that you really want to accept. This is something that you want to do and you're willing to accept it at whatever salary. Well, I would encourage you to not do that and still be able to ask and negotiate your salary. Now, if you want to get some support in negotiating your salary, I have a video here on my YouTube channel that talks about how to negotiate your salary like a boss as it relates to being a woman in leadership. And then I also have a paid masterclass on my website at exciteexcellence.org that is a deeper dive into salary negotiation that has some pretty good tips inside of it that will help you negotiate a higher salary. So salary negotiation is a mistake that a lot of women in leadership make, and I don't want you to make that mistake. I do want to share a bit about me, because I know many of you have reached out to me and just want to know a little bit about me in terms of why I do what I do. And I'm going to share with you my story, if you have not heard it before, about why salary negotiation for me personally is something that is very, very, very important. So when I was graduating many years ago from undergraduate, I was in the process of going into a different career path than what I am right now. And I was working for a DNA sequencing lab at the time, or planning to work there. And when it came to the interview, they told me what salary the interview was at. And I said, okay. And I just took the job. I didn't blink. I didn't bat an eye. I just said, okay, yeah. And I just took it. Now, Fast forward a couple months later, I found out that even though I graduated from college with a bachelor's degree and presented myself the way that I thought that I should, there were people at the job that I worked at that did not have a bachelor's degree that were making more than I was. And I thought to myself, wow, why didn't I negotiate a higher salary? And so that has been over, goodness, I mean, 20 plus years ago now. And so I am very, 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 very aggressive when it comes to salary negotiation. So if you want to learn some more strategies and techniques to help you be able to negotiate a higher salary, then let me know. I'll be able to help you on that, and just check out the videos I mentioned on my YouTube channel. All right. So the fourth mistake that women in leadership tend to make in their careers that I want you to avoid doing is to not appreciate their value. Oftentimes, we have a lot of skill sets, we have a lot of knowledge, we have a lot of assets that we can bring to any organization or to our own businesses. But when it comes to really thinking about us, we have a hard time being able to appreciate ourselves. So I want to share with you an exercise that I do with my clients to help them start to appreciate themselves a bit more so that they don't make these mistakes. Because these mistakes, I'm telling you, ladies, they will definitely cause you to slow down in your career. You don't want to slow down in your career. You want to speed up. You want to accelerate your growth. This is why you're subscribed to my channel, hopefully. If you're not, definitely make sure you subscribe. And this is why you are trying to develop yourselves professionally as a woman in leadership. So the exercise I do with my clients is as follows. I ask them to get a pen and get a paper and write down the top 3 accomplishments they have completed that they are most proud of. These 3 accomplishments will allow you to reflect and start to think about the amazing things you've done in your career. And the goal is to help you to appreciate yourself. So take a few moments and do this executive coaching exercise. I guarantee you it will help you to feel better about yourself. I want you to put in the comments below if you have found any of this information to be helpful. Feel free to give me a thumbs up. If there are any additional mistakes that you want to share that you feel like women in leadership should not make, put them in the comments below so we can all grow together and learn from each other so that we can fast track our ways to success without making a bunch of mistakes on the way. Now, sometimes we make mistakes and we learn from them, but if we can empower other women to hopefully not make the same mistakes, then how amazing would that be? So put it in the comments below. Now, I mentioned I was going to share with you five of the top mistakes that women make in their career that I don't want you to make. And so this is my last one. This is the mistake that I mentioned that many people do not really talk about. And if you're ready, let me know you're ready. Put something in the comments below. If you're watching this on the replay, let me know if you're ready. And the 5th and final mistake that women leaders make in their careers that can hold them back from advancing in their careers the way they'd like to is to not develop their executive presence. Executive presence is something that is discussed, is talked about a bit more, I would say nowadays, but as it relates specifically to women, it's not talked about as much. And so that's something that I talk about here on my channel to really help women develop their executive presence. And you might be wondering, well, how is this a mistake? This is probably one of the biggest mistakes outside of confidence that I mentioned at the very beginning that many women leaders do not do. You have to understand that when you are interacting with people, either professionally, in academia, in your workplace, in your business, they need to see the same consistent person all of the time. Because as they see that same consistent person all the time, you start to build your executive presence. People know what to expect. They know when you're in the room. And so if you don't have your executive presence established the way that you want to have it, and perhaps when you go in a room, there's people that overlook you, or you feel like you're being passed over for promotions or advancement, etc., then reach out to me. Contact me. I will help you to develop your executive presence. I have a communication skills audit, which will help you to communicate at a higher level and develop your executive presence or get started in the process within a week. So feel free to check that out in the description below, or just email me at info@exciteexcellence.org, and I'll be able to support you on your journey to do that. So building your executive presence is important because people will respond to you the way that you respond to them. And so if you conduct yourself as a leader, as an executive, then people will act a little bit differently around you. There's a lot of videos I've done on my channel that talk about executive presence, so I'm not going to go into a ton of detail of it here, but this is a mistake that I want you to make sure that you do not make as a woman in leadership. So, to recap, the top 5 mistakes that women in leadership make in their career that I do not want you to make in your career is to, 1, not develop a solid foundation of confidence. Number 2 is to not communicate at a higher level than their peers. Number 3 is to not negotiate their salaries. Number 4 is to not appreciate their value. And number 5, most importantly, ladies, is to not develop their executive presence. These are the mistakes that I have developed over the past 20 years that I have seen happen constantly all the time that really prevent women leadership from communicating at a higher level and being able to advance in their careers. So if you want some additional support on this, let me know. And I want to know from you, what are some mistakes that you want to share to help other women in leadership? Put them in the comments below, especially if you're watching the replay. I'm really looking forward to seeing what else you all have to say. And also, I would want to know, which of these mistakes do you feel like is the most important? I told you which ones I have seen as being major mistakes, but I want to hear from you. What do you think? So if you have any questions, let me know. I appreciate you all for being here on the live today. I'll try to do a lot more lives as I'm moving forward, focusing a bit more on communication. I do want to share one piece of information with you that will probably be very helpful to many of you as you're trying to really elevate how you're communicating with other people. The first thing I want to share with you is that I'm going to be hosting many masterclasses, at least a total of 4 over the next month. One masterclass, and these are all going to be free, by the way. One masterclass is going to be on interview preparation and salary negotiation. Salary negotiation I'm going to touch on a bit, but interview preparation is going to be the main focus. And that's based on the polls I did with my audience. And this is what you all requested. So this is what we're going to do first. So that's one masterclass. The second masterclass is going to be on public speaking and presentation skills in the workplace. The third masterclass is going to be on executive presence. And the fourth masterclass is going to be on elite communication skills at work. So if you are really ready to accelerate your career growth and be ready by the end of Q1 to advance in your careers and see a change in your professional life and how you feel as a woman in leadership, then you're going to want to check out these masterclasses because they're going to be transformative and you're going to learn a lot of life-changing insights and strategies that people just don't talk about. That's what I'm here for, is to share it with you. So if you have any other questions for me, feel free to let me know, and make sure you follow my pages. I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn. And then of course, subscribe to the channel so you know when these free masterclasses are going to be coming up. I hope you have a fantastic day, and bye for now.